Good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 1432. Happy Monday. Hope you had a good weekend. The madness was on. Hey, for the first time, we finally had a buzzer beater in the NCAA tournament last night. We're going to talk about March Madness. We're going to talk about your weekend, my weekend. We're going to talk about eBay. How were your eBay sales this weekend? I'm going to share a little insight on my eBay sales and why were they up or down. I'm going to share with you that. Also, make sure to get your bids in. Over 300 auctions now live in my eBay store, 99centcards.com. Get those bids in now so you don't forget. Maybe set your Gixxon or whatever. There's some decent stuff. A lot of refractors, a lot of color, some good stuff. There's some lots, Sports Illustrated for Kids lot. 100 cards, early cards, like 89.90 SI for Kids lot. What else do I have? There's a refractor, I think a 100 card refractor lot. Tons of singles, hundreds, you could say. There's an autogram, vintage autogram up for grabs. So check out these auctions. I think the first wave ends on Thursday. So check the auctions out over at 99centcards.com. Hey, speaking of this week, Saturday is the big Madison card show. Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive, 140 sold out dealer tables, and the waiting list keeps getting longer and longer. Dealers are, well, can I get in May? No. Tables are sold out. I can put you on the list. Like I told somebody else, well, when will you let us know? I won't. You just have to keep following up. So here's how this damn hair, I need a haircut. So here's how my waiting list works. If you're trying to get in to the Madison card show, I haven't reached out to you, but your buddy got in. Here's how he gets in. He follows up. Follow up is so key in sales, and dealing at a card show is sales. So follow up. Because if you don't follow up, that tells me you don't really want to set up. I don't go down the list. And that's a great position to be in as a show promoter. It wasn't always like that. It won't always be like this, but it is like this right now. So here's how it works. You reach out. The worst time to reach out, and I've mentioned this time and time again, the worst time to reach out is a couple weeks before the show or like the day of the show. The absolute worst time to reach out about getting into the show is the day of the show. Second worst is the day after the show, and then so on and so forth. The best time, the day before the show. So I know, because there's countless times when I used to run down the waiting list and I used to put it in order. Okay, you're 1, 2, 3. There's a pecking order. I used to do it that way, and here's why I don't do it that way anymore. I'd go down the list, and I'd have, say, 10 people on the waiting list early on, 10 people on the waiting list, and I'd go to number 1 on the list, and number 2 on the list, number 3 on the list. And here's what tends to happen. People aren't always next to their phone. I've got to fill these tables right now. Like, I don't want to wait 8 hours, especially the day before the show. And so what happens is, I'm at number 5 on the list, and number 1 or number 2 gets back to me. They're like, oh, hey, I'll take that table. Oh, sorry, it's number 5 just took it. Well, I was first on the list. So we just don't do that anymore. So and a lot of times 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, oh, I made other plans. Oh, I'm going to do this card show instead because I didn't think I could get into yours. So that wastes my time. So when it leads up to the show, I know the people reaching out the week of the show, and especially the days before the show, if they reach out again, okay, they're serious. They really want to get into the show. I'm not going to waste my time following up with them and just doing all of this crap. So that's what we do. So you've got to follow up with me if you want to get into the show. It's a super long waiting list, but that doesn't mean you can't get in. Like, we don't go 1 through 150. You could be number 149 But you reached out the day before the show. I just happened to take a cancel. Oh, hey, you're in. And I kind of cherry pick, Pokemon, highly unlikely to get into the Saturday show, especially now with the Pokemon only show, TCG only show. Pretty much no more Pokemon is going to get in to the Saturday show. And if a regular Pokemon, we're going to fill that with sports and try to balance it out. We're not going to completely remove that from the show, but fair is fair. So if you want to get in, there's how you do it. Be prepared. Reach out. And I understand that doesn't work for everybody. I wouldn't, if I wanted to do a show and it's like, well, sorry, we're sold out. Okay. I'm going to make other plans. So you can put me on the waiting list, but I don't care. Right. So that's how I would be. But I know a lot of people want to be in. I'm a very, I'd want to say weekend warrior, but we're all weekend warriors when it comes to card shows. But it's just, I'm a fair weather card show. It's like, I don't really need to go to a card show. I don't have to set up at a card show, but I do like to get out. I like to set up at least once a month at shows. My next show that I'll be set up is a week from Saturday, April 5th, I think, down in Wheaton, Illinois. This will be my first show down in that area and at the DuPage County Fairgrounds. So looking forward to checking that show out as a dealer. I've got my own showcase now. So I'm pondering, I'm probably not going to bring the trout, but I will bring like some of my Cubs stuff in my show. Basically what I brought, and maybe add a few more singles from what I took down to the Spectacular last week. So I think I'm playing around with that idea. I'm not a big fan of three tables of bargain boxes in one showcase, because in that, usually the showcase gets glossed over. For the most part, people see all the bargain boxes and they're just a mindset thing. Well, he's just got a bunch of quarter boxes. There's nothing in the showcase, which it will be kind of a bargain showcase. Well, actually, no, because if it's Cubs stuff, it's going to be above comps. So maybe I should just leave the showcase at home. We'll see. I've got a couple weeks to figure that out. But this Saturday, Madison Card Show, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. PSA will be there. PSA on site upstairs in the Capitol Square Ballroom along the south wall, right as you walk into that entrance to the ballroom. They'll be accepting submissions for grading and authenticating. So bring your stuff out. You can get more information, psacard.com/events. PSA at the Madison Card Show this Saturday, March 29th, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. So we had some exciting games in March Madness yesterday. I haven't checked the bracket. In fact, I don't know how last night's game went. I'd say, am I going to be disappointed? But not really, because I don't have any money on the line. I'm not battling. I'm not battling for any money. Let's see. Where are we at? Okay, Michigan State did win. Okay, that was a tight game last night. Michigan State and New Mexico. All right, so we want to get into the bracket game. So let's just talk about the bracket, and then we'll get into the chat. Hobby Evolution. Can I access my old company? Still pops up into my pools. Can I? I don't think I can I can't click on anything. My whole computer's frozen. Oh, now we're live. Okay. Oh, it does show. This is like an there's 7 people that filled out brackets. But it's obviously it's last year's bracket. Okay. So let's go to Hobby Evolution. All right. Hobby Evolution bracket challenge. Let's share the screen. Where are we at? There we go. Low roller scratcher. How about that? Not only does he know Bitcoin, he knows bracket challenges. Low roller scratcher. And he's going to pop in about 20 minutes and be like, hey, have you talked about the March Madness bracket? Low roller scratcher. That's why we got to get this out of the way now so he's not in the chat. Low Roller Scratcher and David tied for first, 52 points through 2 rounds. Dennis, who had a perfect bracket through 25 games, had correctly picked 31 of the 32 first-round games, has dropped into third place. But he's only 1 point behind the leaders, David and Low Roller Scratcher. And he's tied with our buddy 608 Sports Cards, Cody, tied for third with 51 points. We got a jam up in fifth, the tie for fifth, 48 points each for John, Shane, Max, Jason, and Nate. Then we go to 47. Even though you're tied for 10th, 47 still highly respectable, especially as the point values increase here on. Joe, Eric, Bob, Joseph. And then with 46 points, still right in the thick of things, Tracy, Cameron, M, George, Robert, and SoCal Guy. And then we've got me and Kyle. Hey, Kyle. But Kyle's got St. John's winning. We've got 45 points. Who's Kevin's still in last? I think Kevin's going to be the what's the old Gus Macker toilet bowl, whatever it was. I think Kevin's going to be in last. He had St. John's winning also. So there you go. Here's there's the list. So our Sweet 16 is set. Let's take a look at Low Rollers bracket. Our Sweet 16 is set. We've got Auburn and Michigan State. Wait. Auburn, Michigan State. Wait. Auburn, Michigan. I'm getting ahead of myself. Auburn, Michigan. Ole Miss and Michigan State. But I thought March 28th. Oh, Michigan State beat New Mexico. Man, I'm a moron. For some reason, I was thinking Michigan State and Ole Miss played last night. Okay, so we've got Auburn, Sweet 16. Here we go. Auburn, Michigan. Michigan State, Ole Miss. So that's 4 times 4 is 16. All right. Florida, Maryland, Texas Tech, Arkansas. And then over on the other side, we've got Kentucky, Tennessee, Houston, Purdue, BYU, Alabama, Duke, Arizona. Boy, it went very chalky this year. Very chalky. I think it was the first time in several years no double-digit seed is in the Sweet 16. So we've got in the South, we've got 1 versus 5 and 2 versus 6. The threes did not fare well this year. Down here in the West, we've got 1 versus 4, straight chalk, and 3 versus 10. Over on the other side, we've got 2 and 3, 1 and 4, complete chalk in the Midwest. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the Sweet 16. And then up here in the East bracket, we've got 1, 4, 2, 6. So nearly chalk. Old Wisconsin couldn't hold the chalk line. So a lot of chalk in this year's NCAA tournament. Let's go to the chat. All right. Hello, Shane. What's up? He's back from Dallas. Good morning. Fantasy baseball weekend, a blast. Spring break over, back to the grind. Welcome to Monday. I did not have an eventful weekend. I didn't even really leave the house. Friday night I did. Met up with Bronco and East Coast Tom at the Sheraton for dinner and drinks. Saturday I went all the way a mile down the street to pick up the wild bird feed. And I did pick up we had sushi last night, so I went and picked up sushi. That was the extent. Saturday and Sunday I spent about 10 minutes, actually maybe 20 minutes picking up the sushi. Spent about 20 minutes outside the house. So I'm looking forward to Madison Card Show weekend. And then by Sunday I'm like I'm dead. After setup Friday and all day Saturday, Sunday I'm dead. Victor's here. Good morning. Raphael in the house. What's happening? Zach and Porter, the new StreamYard music is very soothing. I don't like it. I don't like the new countdown music. And it's not like I can't pick it. I don't think. I think it's just standard. And I even pay. They jacked up StreamYard. It used to be $25 back when I never used it. And then I started using it, and I think it's like $45 a month now. It's like, geez, for this. For this. I mean, I make more than $45 a month in YouTube ad revenue, so at least I've got that going for me. Pays for my StreamYard, but I don't think I can pick my countdown music. Let me see. No, it's just there's one countdown. There's one countdown. There is background music. How about this? We could set the Happy Monday, or we could go dance pop. Oh yeah, we can get down on a Monday morning. All right, so there you go. Where we at? David's in the house. Tied for first place. David, good morning. Red Light 34, good morning. Zach says hi to Victor. Zach says, who would have thought we would need to travel this far into the tournament for a buzzer beater? Oh, Zach went there. So that doesn't bother me for multiple reasons. Number one, I don't have any money. I didn't have any money on the game. Number two, I didn't have any money on the bracket. Number three, I didn't really care. I had no rooting interest in either team. And that's kind of, when there's no money tied to it, that's perfect because you can just root for good games. And, Colorado State with that 3, it's like, 6 seconds left. They hit the 3. Oh, and then Maryland comes down. Did the guy travel? Probably. But we've seen this in the NBA for 20 years, 25 years, the old Euro step. Now it's leaking into the college game, and it has been. It's not as prominent as the NBA, but that's just new basketball, and that's a trend that has been happening for a couple decades now, and we're just going to see more of that. We're just going to see more traveling. So, did he travel by rule? Probably. And I am of the opinion. I think if it's a rule and it's witnessed by the official, it should be called. No matter if it's a 1-point game in the NCAA tournament with 1 second left, or it's the second possession of the game in a scoreless matchup. You should call the game. Let them play. Let them play. It's like the most annoying. I don't want to go to high school or college games. At least you don't get that in the NBA. Let them play. So I'm of that, but I don't know. I guess I had no rooting interest in it, so it was an exciting finish. It was one of those moments. And how about that guy's name from Maryland? Derek Queen. Derek Queen. Like that's a tournament name to remember. What are some of the tournament names you remember from? And this is a lot for me. It's a lot of, just from nostalgia, obviously. But we had going back to the 80s. I think we had Mouse McFadden, Cleveland State. Now, a lot of the names that I bring up are going to be 90s because that's kind of like my, when I was really getting into the tournament. Was it Harold Arsenault from Weber State? That was a name. Ali Farouk Manesh, Northern Iowa. Now we're talking like 2000. God, what year was it? Like 2010, somewhere around there. Kevin Pittsnoggle, was he West Virginia? Duaney. Now we're going back to the 90s. Duaney from God Shamgod, Providence Friars. They were around the same time. Who were some other, of course, Bryce Drew killed my Leathernecks and then led Valpo to the Sweet 16. Bryce Drew. What were some other big names? NCAA tournament names. It's like, oh yeah. Tournament darlings. Dairy Queen could be one of them. Derek Queen out of Maryland. Art Green's in the house. Good morning. James is here. What's going on? Prospects are moving crazy. Lot those up. Make that money. I probably should. This is the time right now. I'm moving a lot of singles because I don't have a lot of lots. I have very few prospect lots. But I do have. I was going through some of my prospect boxes. A lot of my prospect boxes are guys that aren't moving like crazy. So usually the guys that do move like crazy are kind of have had that hobby. There's not too many surprises that come up. I do need to check my box for Christian Campbell because he did make the opening day roster. Max Muncy, the Oakland A's Max Muncy, made the opening day roster. So Max Muncy, Oakland A's, Christian Campbell, Boston Red Sox. What was Christian Campbell's first Bowman? I don't even know what year because there's and as I go through, it's like, my God, how much 2022 Bowman draft do I have? So he was in Christian Campbell was in 2023 Bowman draft, which I don't know. Oh man, I'm yawning today. Don't know how much of that I have. Where we actually, I might have quite a bit of that. I might have quite a bit of 2023 Bowman draft. I'll have to check my C's and my M's for Campbell and Muncy. John says, I texted you this morning at 4 a.m. and you didn't respond. It's the week of the show. I'm confused. I only wake up at 4 a.m. on the day of the show. I wake up at 4 a.m. on Saturday, the day of the Madison Card Show. Every other day, I'm snoozing at 4 a.m. Gem City Card Show, good morning. Philly Joe's in the house, good morning. LRS in the lead. John says you should Dutch auction your table fees. I've thought about, like, you know what? I don't have to deal with any. Let's run an auction. All right, $60 opening bid. Going up from there. There's 2 tables left. We're going to auction them off. Zach says, technically showing up with your stuff the day of the show is reaching out to you the day of the show. You said that could be a smart approach. I'm confused. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No, what I'm talking about is the day of the show for next month. That's the worst time. But one of the smart approaches is bringing your stuff the morning of the show and letting me know first thing in the morning, hey, I've got my stuff in the car. If somebody no-shows, that's absolutely that's maybe the smartest approach, but not a good approach is reaching out to me the day of the show. Hey, can I get into next month's show? Unless you're already a dealer. But if you've never set up before and you're like, hey, I'm interested in a table for next month, that is the worst time to reach out. No Kimon. Love it. Separate but equal. JK Cards, good morning. 2000 Bowman Chrome Tom Brady PSA 9 sold over the weekend. What's the best way to ship a card of that value? Well, it's likely going to it doesn't really matter as long as you can get it safely to the authentication. I don't know what the value is on that, but I would say when I ship cards over $100, I ship them in a box. So I'll ship in, but people say, well, you got to send them priority. I wouldn't say, based on my last experience with priority, I'm not sending priority. I guess I'm just taking the gamble with ground. Hell, if I would have sent my package ground advantage, it would have been there in 2 days. I would send it in a box. I would typically, here's what I do. Say it's an Aaron Judge. Say this is a superfractor or something. Obviously, penny sleeve, top load it, and then I sandwich it with cardboard, and then I'll put it in usually like a small bubble mailer, and then inside a small box, like a 300 count box. And then the 300 count box, I'll put a little tape around the 300 count box, like blue tape, so it's easy to pull off. And then put that in a bubble mailer. So it's kind of double protected. It's not just in the box. It's a box inside a bubble mailer. Doesn't add anything. It's going to cost you the same shipping wise. So once you're getting into more, then you're starting to talk insurance and I've sent a couple items over $1,000 and I did not probably I really took a gamble and probably should have insured them. I didn't. With the state of the post, this has been, it's been a while since I've sent anything that high of value. In today's climate of the USPS, I would insure. I would insure even 500. I would want that insured based on how shitty the service has been lately. JK Cards Honeymoon Fund looking good. John says, why is your delivery priced at $5 for a single card in auction? Because it's going to ship bubble mailer. That's why. And if it goes to the West Coast, it's going to be $4.75 for shipping. Even if it stays here locally, I think $3.98 is the cheapest ground advantage here locally. So there are some $5 shipping at auction. And there's a couple $10 shipping for the lots. So I've always charged for shipping on my auctions. There's your answer. Dan says, hey, just started watching Suits. First 2 episodes are good. I'm a big fan of Suits, the original. Although I haven't seen the new Suits to make a proper judgment. My wife says it sucks. I'll just take her word for it. I also don't pay attention to shows. We've been watching Reacher, and there was a show that Saturday night, my wife's like, oh, this show I wanted to. I'm like, oh, yeah, I heard about that. I want to watch that too. And then I completely forgot what it was about. I can't even remember the name. I even tried Googling like new shows about this. Don't know. And so there's a new Reacher that we haven't watched. And I'm like, oh, okay. And she's like, what? I thought you liked it. And I'm like, I like the first one. I like the first episode. And then I just stopped paying attention. And so I just don't. But Suits, I kind of paid attention to. I mean, I'm in and out of consciousness when it comes to watching television shows. Mikey's in the house. Good morning. Is it the 3-dot or 2-dot version of PSA? James in the house. You should do well at DuPage. A lot of traffic. Yeah, have there been 1 or 2 shows? But I have not done the DuPage show, but I'm looking forward to it. Mikey is telling lies. Duke did not lose. Never mind about Duke. Duke did not lose. Duke is in the Sweet 16. Zach says, John, my guess is it is a relic or something that Bo requires additional postage to ship. That is absolutely the correct answer. Or it's just a card that will likely sell for over $20. The autogram has $5 shipping because I expect that to sell for over $20. Relics, because it has to ship bubble mailer. So that's the reason why. When are you announcing the prizes for the bracket challenge? I announced that at the very beginning that there are no prizes. It's just bragging rights. They aren't relics, Zach. Stop enabling. All right. So since John, let's see, John. Where are we at? Auctions. Add to the stage. Oh, we want to share this tab. All right. So here are newly listed. We want ending soonest. Where's my ending soonest? There we go. All right, we got 99 cents, 99 cents, 99 cents, 99 cents, 99 cents, 99 cents. A lot of 99-cent shipping here, John Keating. But I do know there are $5 shipping on certain items. So yeah, anything that sells for over 20 or that is likely to sell for over $20, that is not the rookie card. That is the Burger's Best. Clearly spelled out 2016 Topps Burger's Best for those in the peanut gallery. So here's a $10 shipping because it's a lot of 100 cards. Here's the autogram, $5 shipping because it's likely going to sell for over $20. $10 because it's a lot of 100 refractors. 99 cents. Here's $5 because it's a lot of I should have priced this higher because I'm probably, if this sells at 99 cents, I'll lose money because that's shipping is going to cost more than $5 on 100 cards. $5 on the Great American Bash ticket stub. Well, that's not going to sell for more than $20, says John Keating, probably. Well, it's not a card. It's a ticket stub, so it cannot be sent eBay standard envelope. It has to ship either in a stamp, not going to do that, or in a bubble mailer. So that's going to be shipped in a bubble mailer. Ken Griffey Jr. Skybox Thunder Rant SP. This one I probably could have got away with 99-cent shipping on this, but I was flipping auctions over to $5 shipping, and this was part of it. Same with the Blake Snell. This one certainly, I'll be happy to get $5. Well, especially with $5 shipping. So there's a couple on here. The Kobe, should sell for right around $20 or more. Same with the Ernie Banks. So there you go. Here's a relic. Path to Glory, Will Howard. That I think I think there's a couple of cards in here that ended up like, it could have went 99 cents. It could have went $5. Same with the Paul Skeens Refractor. The orange. So there you go. So some of them, make sure that, so the rest are 99-cent shipping. So there you go. Hit the auctions up, 99centcards.com. Where we at? That dude from Duryea says, what's up, guys? What does your card show do with non-sport dealers? I never hear much on that area of the hobby in here. Well, it depends on what you consider non-sport. So basically, I consider, when it comes to cards, I consider like three major genres: sports, non-sports, TCG. I don't really consider Pokemon non-sport. It is non-sport, yes, but it has its own genre. It is TCG. So my show, we don't really, we've got sports and non-sports mixed. I don't really understand what the question means, but we have sports and non-sports. It's a trading card show. It's not a sports card show. It's a trading card show. So all cards are welcome. Zach says, how does the winner of the bracket challenge collect their winnings? $50 store credit will go a long way with auctions. Congrats in advance. Zach is making up lies. There is no winner in the Hobby Evolution bracket challenge. Holmes in the house. Good morning. When doing a million cubbies, was there ever a time the card was in such bad condition you tossed it? Probably not. When I was hoarding, especially Goodwill Pal, for the most, like if I was acquiring bulk buys, and there was never any times where it was in poor condition. But in Goodwill Pal, it's absolutely, there were times where it's in a freaking diapers box thrown in and it's junk wax, just beat to hell. And I set it aside, added it to the count. It's in a box somewhere. If I ever find those, they will be thrown out. But no, I don't think there was ever, in fact, one card in my collection I kept as a memento. We had a card shop here on Whitney Way, the baseball card shop, and it was flooded out back in 2018, I think. And I went down to, check it out and talk to Tom, the owner, and it was just devastating, the loss of cards. And he was throwing garbage bags upon garbage bags away of cards, boxes. And so there were guys cherry picking shit out of the stuff. And I picked one card out. It was a Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, like some random card. And it was in like a one type of a one touch, kind of a one touch. Might have been the early one touches where it was a screw. Which, does that make it a one touch? Maybe. So that was like waterlogged. And it's in a box somewhere. I dried it out. But yeah, I was hoarding even the major beaters. John says, I thought Mike Smith was the brains over there at LRS Investments. With Mike Smith on PTO, I have no idea who's the brains. $50 barely covers shipping. Pre-tariff branding. Hello, Orlando. The fuck is Chalk Talk? Chalk. It's all chalk. Don't you know what chalk means? Chalk. 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed. The favorites win the games. That's chalk. Good morning, Michael Renicky. Bo paid by the chalk today. Still waiting on our LRS's age to forecast a 30-year investment strategy to sure he doesn't outlive his fortune. You can make your own intro. It can be a countdown. It can be what you want. But then I have to make it. The countdown that I use is already just there, and I can click a button. I don't want to make anything. Tom Coleman, East Coast Tom in the house. Good morning. StreamYard price bump drove me out of the content game. Makes sense. It is. I get that bill every month. It's like, Jesus. It's like $45 a month. It's like, is it really worth it? I mean, for me, I guess it is, because I was paying $25 a month and never using it. So might as well pay $45 and use it to the bare minimum. Zach says, you most definitely have money on the game. The winner of your tourney, that's completely false. Zach is making up lies. Mark says, good morning, go Maryland, my alma mater. Listening on my flight to LV, Vegas, baby. Very nice. The Terps with the big win. Michael Renicky says, I agree. Call the game and rules as stated and be consistent. There you go. Zach says, Randolph Childress, Wake Forest, Demon Deacons. Great name and great March performances. Chris Jenkins had a buzzer beater to win the ship. That was a great game. And I'll never forget that game because we were at a friend's house who had like a newborn. And it was sleeping and we couldn't like get excited. And because North Carolina came down and hit like an amazing 3. It's like, oh my God, the Tar Heels are gonna win. And then Chris Jenkins comes out and it's like, oh, the Tar Heels, and we're like, and then Chris Jenkins comes down and hits that shot. I'll never forget. I couldn't just. And I had no rooting interest in that game either. Pittsnoggle. Majestic Map. That's a good one. Remember X-Ray Hip? They might have been teammates. Where was Majestic Map? Was he St. John's? George Washington had some Yankadare. Oh, we had Adonal Foyle at Colgate. I think Adonal Foyle died. Majestic Map. Oh, he was Virginia. X-Ray Hip was Maryland. X-Ray Hip was a Terp. Let's look up like the 1992-93 George Washington roster because I think it was around that time. They had some wild names with Yankadare. This has got to be it because 92-93 George Washington, Mike Jarvis, the head coach. They were a 12 seed, and they were one of those classic 12 seed Cinderellas. In 92-93, they were a 12 seed, beat number 5 New Mexico. Then they won their second round game. It was a battle of upsets, number 12 versus number 13, Southern University. They beat Southern, and then they lost to number 1 Michigan, which would that have been the Fab Five? Yeah, that would have been the Fab Five Wolverines, 92-93. All right, so that team, Dirk Searles, and he's got cards in that classic draft set. Yankadare was just a freshman that year. Let's see. Nimbo Hammonds was a sophomore guard. Alvin Pearsall, Omo Moses, Kwame Evans. All right. Adama Ka. All right. So I guess they didn't have any crazy. Yankadare was the only crazy name on that. I thought there was a George Washington. Maybe it was Georgetown where they had some crazy names. East Coast Jimmer. Oh yeah. How could we forget Jimmer Fredette, who was in attendance for the game the other night, BYU in Wisconsin. Brandon says, rare comment for me. Did you see Ali Farouk Manesh is an assistant for Colorado State? Taste of his own medicine. I did not see that. I heard his name. I probably, as I had the game maybe on in the background, I heard Farouk Manesh mentioned on the broadcast. And I'm like, oh, yeah, Ali Farouk Manesh, Northern Iowa. I did not realize he was an assistant at Colorado State. James says 23 draft with Skeens. Oh, so I do have quite a bit of that. I don't have any Skeens, but I've got quite a bit of 23 Bowman draft paper. I might have some Chrome, I guess, too. Zach says White Sox will lose more games than last year. It may be the last straw for Will Clark. Johnny M says Campbell is selling fast. Been listing his regular Bowman at $5. Nice. TD Sports Cards. Good morning, you cardaholics. Robert is here. Good morning. Curious to know what level eBay store you have. I have hit the 10,000 listing ceiling for Buy It Now with eBay this weekend. Well, the good news is if you have, I don't know what level you have, but if you have a premium store subscription, you get 60,000 listings. So there you go. I don't know what, it's not a big step up. If you're at the beginner, whatever it is, there's the starter store, which I wouldn't recommend. And then basically the first tier store is like the beginner store, maybe basic is like $25 a month. And then you go up to $60 a month. You get 60,000 listings for $60 a month. And then you have to go up to Anchor Store, which is about $300 a month. And that gets you 100,000 listings, 1,000 free auctions. So I have the premium store. I've just been, and I've been able to keep under 60,000 listings, just trying to be smart with what I list. Yeah, there's a lot of junk in my store, but, and I still list stuff that, this may or may not sell, but, I've got plenty of wiggle room now. I think I'm down to like 54,000 listings, Buy It Now listings. So, and I am spending money on auctions. I think last night put me over the 500 for the month, which usually I use up in the first few days of each month. But being out at spring training, didn't use very many auctions. So just use those up. And, the good thing about auctions, when you pay the insertion fee on an auction, you get that money back if it sells. So if your auction sells, you get a refund when the auction closes. So that's good. Donald in the house. Good morning. Johnny says, I had signature confirmation on anything over 250. Gem Mint Card Show in Quincy was a great show. Very nice. TD Sports Card says, thick cards have to go in a mailer. Even if it's cheap, it'll never make it through the sorting rollers. Absolutely. Art Green says, really needed to watch Severance if you haven't. I've watched bits and pieces of Severance. Worth subbing to Apple TV for a month to binge. Tremendous show. Season 2 finale just aired. My wife watched it. I'd watch every once in a while. I just can't get into watching show, like really anything. I just don't have the attention span to watch any type of show. Uncle Rich, good morning. TD says, good morning, Rich. Johnny says, what percentage of your auctions are selling? Whew. I'd put it around 50%, maybe 60%. Now that I'm running a lot of, like this week, I'm running 300 plus auctions. A lot of them are refractors and stuff that probably won't sell. I was keeping close tabs here. This is a good exercise though, where I can look. We'll look at February, and I don't really monitor the percentage. I was monitoring the percentage of auctions that were selling initially. And then I just started monitoring what I spend on insertion fees, because that's when it comes down to it, that's all I care about is the money aspect. So let's go to, we want to look at sales. We want to see how much I spend in insertion fees, and then how much is recouped. Let's look up last month. So we're going to look at February. And we're going to go down here and look at my eBay fees. So in the month of February, Apparently, I didn't run too many auctions. So I think I used up, apparently, I did 501 auctions because I had 15 cents in insertion fees, or actually, I probably could have gone way over that in my auction sold. So I only spent 15 cents in insertion fees. Transaction fee credits, $20. Now, unfortunately, I don't know how many of that $20 was refunds, probably most of it. Because of items not received. So that's all lumped together. So very minimal. So then you look at my percent of selling cost, less than 0.1% of my selling cost. So February was great. So let's look at January. I'm pretty sure I ran more auctions in January than February. So 131. So this to me, the percentage of auctions doesn't really bother me. It's the percent of my fees and how much I made on auction. So let's see if this. Okay, so here in January, I spent $167 on insertion fees, which is 4.5% of my selling cost. I was only refunded $120, and there was probably some refunds in there. So I probably spent a good $60 on auction insertions. Now, how much did I make on auctions? And this is where it comes in. So say I spent $60 on insertion fees for my auctions in the month of January. I sold about $2,000 in auctions. $2,000 in auctions, $60. That's maybe a little higher than I want it to be. What's 60 divided by 2,000 is probably around 5%. 3%. So that's certainly a number. I mean, 5%, I would be okay with spending 5% of insertion fees on what I bring in. Once it gets closer to 10%, then it's like, I need to be a little more wise in what I list at auction. Also, remember, I'm not paying any promotions for auctions. My auctions are not promoted, so I don't have any fee attached to promoted listings for my auctions. So basically, that insertion fee is kind of like a promotion fee. Cooter says, "Good morning. Looking forward to getting past March Madness so we can get back to baseball and food talk." I love March Madness, and it coincides with baseball. And what sucks is the Cubs, the last 3 Cubs games have not even been televised. Most spring training games now are televised. The last 3 games, neither the Cubs nor the opponent has broadcast the game, which is okay because I was watching basketball anyway. I would not have watched a spring training game over March Madness. But we're getting close. AAA opening day is Friday. So we're getting close. In fact, I think the AAA players, they leave spring training like today or tomorrow. Florida baseball card dude, good morning. Bargain Boxers got the countdown 128 days, you card nerds. I've got to look to see if I can book my I tried booking a hotel a while ago, but it was too early for the particular place that I stay. And I can't even remember the let's see. I got to find it on a map. Where is it at? I got to find Rosemont. Where's Rosemont? Oh, there's Rosemont. Where's River? Oh, I go north. Where's River Road? There's River Road. Okay, we're going north. I got to go all the way up to Wheeling. There's Milwaukee. Okay. What's this hotel called? Huh. It's like not even showing up on the map. Why is that? Huh. That's bizarre. Huh. I'm sure it's still there. Let's look up hotel. I'll have to text my buddy Dave and find out. Hopefully they didn't close. Thought it was a good show, a good hotel. Zach says the eBay store tiers sound more confusing than getting a table for the Madison card show. Uncle Rich says, by the way, I believe he's a member of this community and wish Todd Richardson a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Todd. Happy birthday. Gem City wishes him a happy birthday as well. Uncle Rich says, opening day on Thursday. Life begins again on opening day. Knackley Collectibles, good morning. Low Roller Scratcher, you're late. We already talked about it. That dude from Duryea. Speaking of promotion fees, I am trying off-site promotions, but I don't think the experiment is going to last long. It may be good for other products, but not cards. Just my thoughts. I agree and disagree. I don't know how long you've been doing it, but I wanted to give myself at least a month, at least 1 month of daily off-site promotions. And right now, I think I'm losing money on off-site promotions, which I'm okay with. Am I okay with losing money? No, but you're not going to see with advertising. You can't expect immediate results. You have to let it. You have to let it marinate and simmer and all that stuff. So all campaigns. Where's my offsite? Promoted offsite. Is this active? Yes. All right. So here's my offsite campaign. Oh, I've actually made more money in sales than I have in ad fees. Wow. It used to be like neck and neck. So there you go. So I'm seeing a big improvement over my offsite promotions. I've been running this since December 16th. So there you go. Looks like actually spring training. I made a big sale in offsite promotions while I was, oh wait, nope. I had just come back from spring training. So there you go. So I've actually made more money on my offsite ads, but again, it's taken 3 months, which still is pretty decent, and it should grow from there. Like it just kind of builds. It's like a snowball coming down into an avalanche. Cooter says 128 days. Should I start looking for comfortable shoes to wear? That is a great point, Cooter. If you're going to go to the National this year, which is 128 days away, I would recommend wearing comfortable shoes. I know most people don't mention that, but it's very important that you wear comfortable shoes. I understand most of us like to wear really uncomfortable shoes. John Keating wears high heels all the time, but it's important, very important to wear comfortable shoes when you go to the National because you're going to be on your feet all day. So thank you, Cooter, for reminding us. We do, sometimes we need that reminder because we're always just bebopping around in uncomfortable shoes day in and day out. We've got to wear comfortable shoes when we're at the National. If only there were endless soul-sucking videos to provide me tips on how to prepare for the National. Maybe I should do a video on tips. In fact, I bet if you search my YouTube channel, you can find tips on how to survive the National. And I bet wearing comfortable shoes is mentioned. Shane says, speaking of prospects, that Kyle Tucker trade might look all-time bad if the Cubs don't sign him. Cam Smith hasn't even taken an at-bat in Major League Baseball. Remember David Bodie? He's with the Dodgers now. David Bodie was like a spring training Hall of Famer. David Bodie had all-time spring trainings, year in, year out. Gary Scott had an amazing spring training. He was going to be the next Ron Santo. And then Major League Baseball happened. Then real baseball happened. I have no thoughts on this trade. Actually, I do have thoughts. I think the Kyle Tucker trade was awesome. I thought it was a great trade. And here's the reason why. Kyle Tucker is established. He's one of the top players in all of baseball. Cam Smith is Cam Smith. We don't know who Cam Smith is. We know who Kyle Tucker is. Cam Smith could beat Kyle Tucker, and the Astros get 6 years of him, and good for Houston. But the Cubs need to win. And if you want to try to win, you've got to get players to get you there. And oftentimes it hurts in who you have to give up. You can't just give David Bodie away and get Kyle. You can't trade 5 David Bodies for 1 Kyle Tucker. Like you've got to give to get. So Cam Smith tearing it up. I wish him all the best. Hope he has great success. And I hope Kyle Tucker does too. The Cubs will not re-sign Kyle. Kyle Tucker will not be re-signing with the Cubs. Like I don't bet on many things, but I would bet that Kyle Tucker signs with another team not named the Chicago Cubs. Will I be upset? No. I mean, yeah, it hurts. You had to give up some great talent, potentially great talent to get Kyle Tucker, but it is what it is. Also, by the way, if Cam Smith did exactly what he's doing with the Cubs in spring training, guess where he'd be on Friday? He'd be in Des Moines, Iowa. Like that's on the Cubs. That's on the organization. Like the organization was not going to put Cam Smith on the opening day roster, even if he did what he's doing now with the Astros in spring training. The Cubs would not have elevated him to the opening day roster. He would be starting in Des Moines, Iowa. So for that, I'm also like, well, he could be doing the same thing, but it's spring training. It means nothing. And he wouldn't be on the opening day roster because the Cubs are going to Cub. So I'm okay with it. Because here's the thing, and it's not just, well, but the Cubs wouldn't have her. And you could argue, well, the Cubs wouldn't have Kyle Tucker in right field, so they would have just Seiya Suzuki and nobody else. But here's the thing. If the Cubs didn't trade for Kyle Tucker, they would not have traded away Cody Bellinger. So you would have a logjam in the outfield still. So I'm not concerned about the trade. I don't expect Kyle Tucker to re-sign. I don't expect Cam Smith to put up these types of numbers in regular, real baseball. Is he going to be a good player? Absolutely. I think he will be a good Major League Baseball player. But I'm not, maybe in 2 years, 3 years, this is hobby evolution. Maybe in 3 years, I'll be talking about how disappointed I am in that trade. Oh, that was the worst trade ever. But right now, it is what it is. Dad Dude from Duryea says, I think it needs 45 to 90 days. That's my window. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So mine's been right at 90 days, right? January, February, March. Mine's been right at 3 months. Is it getting me like a huge increase in sales? No, but also remember what I sell. I'm selling $1.50 cards. So it's going to take a lot of sales to make a lot of money and to make the promotions worth it. But it's been a while. I'm glad we talked this out today because I haven't checked that in a while. Last time I checked, it was like right at even. So it would have been before March 15th was a big spike. So in fact, look at March 15th. March 15th was basically right at day 90. And all of a sudden it's that spike because a lot of and that's probably, I'm sure there's like the algorithm. Hey, it's 90 days. Most people give up on offsite promotions after 90 days. Let's give him a big spike to keep him. And I bet that happened. Now that I think like right at this promotion started on March or December 16th and, no sales, zero. I had one click on March 5th. Now, when I was in spring training, it totally, and how about that? Isn't this something? So the only thing I did to my eBay store was put my out of office up. My store was still open for customers. I was still accepting offers. I was still sending offers. Hell, I was still listing items on eBay while I was at spring training. The only thing, my promotions were the same. My promoted listings, I spent the same amount. I didn't stop my off-site promotions. Everything was all hunky-dory. But look at this. Well, you can't. But March 5th was the first day that I was away. I went from an average of, on my offsite promotions, I went from an average of about 120 clicks per day. March 5th, 1 click. March 6th, 0 clicks. March 7th, where's the clicks? It doesn't show clicks, but I did have at least one sale. March 8th, no clicks. March 9th, no clicks. March 10th, no clicks. I was averaging like 120 a day. Isn't that something? So I will tell you, just putting it out of office absolutely hurts your sales and your promotions. Absolutely 100%. Word in the house. NFL Optic got pushed till mid-April. Gem City says, are shoes required? Probably. You can try going shoeless like Joe Jackson, but you might get in trouble. Kyle Tucker is a top 10 player. Thank you, Zach. Kyle Tucker, in fact, a top 10 player in Major League Baseball. Art Green is here. He says, I used up the offsite promotion credit and ended it there personally. I was about even sales to offsite fees, but when you add eBay fees on top of that, it's a loser in my mind. I can see why you think that. I think differently, but I can understand why you would think that. If they want to give me free credits, sure, why not? Otherwise, not going to bother right now. That dude says, curious what the metrics should look like. Sold a $400 card that is going to skew everything. You can go in and look, and it gives you, like, if you go into your campaign, it gives you all sorts of statistics and analytics and all that. Shows how many clicks. Oh, actually, you know what? Can I isolate the clicks? Oh, wait. Yes, I can isolate the clicks. Let's isolate the clicks. All right, so here's the clicks. Okay, so this is while I was at spring training. The clicks. One, again, averaging around 120 clicks per day. 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And then I get back. My out of office is no longer applicable. 49. 84, 79, 99, 90, 117, 78, 112, 121. There you go. Lofi Joe says, was dealer at a show yesterday and did well, but Pokemon dealers outnumbered me 8-1. I'm curious, where are you at, Lofi Joe? Because it seems like there's pockets of the country where Pokemon is really popular at shows as dealers, and then there's other areas where there's not much Pokemon at all. Although it does seem like it's TCG and Pokemon really starting to get uber saturated, as word says. Yes, there is definitely an uber saturation of TCG. So, in fact, it's so saturated that Madison is opening up the Madison Pokemon Show Sunday, April 27th, TCG only. If you're in that space, come out to Madison, Wisconsin. Already sold 100 tables sold out in about 48 hours. I've got a waiting list. I'm considering opening up the downstairs ballroom for the Sunday show. It's already going to be set up from Saturday. I might actually reach out and say, hey, can I get the other ballroom for Sunday? I've got about 10 dealers on the waiting list already. We're a month away from the show. So the Madison Pokemon Show, completely separate entity from the Madison Card Show, but run by the same promoter, me. Sunday, April 27th, Madison Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. Saturday, April 26th, is it the 26th? Saturday is the regular Madison Card Show. Sports and Pokemon will be at that show, just like any other Madison Card Show. And of course, this Saturday is the Madison Card Show at the Sheraton Hotel. 140 dealer tables, PSA in attendance. They will be set up along the south wall upstairs in the Capitol Square Ballroom. When you walk into the main entrance of the ballroom, you'll see them. They'll be right there. PSA accepting submissions for grading and authenticating. They'll be on site accepting those drop-offs. So that's this Saturday, Madison Card Show. Lofi Joe's in St. Paul. Okay, yeah, Midwest. I feel like Midwest is highly saturated with TCG. So All right, that's what I had for today. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Visit my eBay store, 99centcards.com. Get those bids in. Over 300 auctions are now live in my eBay store. Bid now so you don't forget there's going to be some steals and some deals in my eBay store, 99centcards.com. That dude says your trend is upward, so I may stick it out longer. Thanks for sharing your experience. Hey, you are welcome. All right, have a great day. We'll do this again tomorrow. See you then.